Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Rug Delver Burn. That's right, we've got Dragon Rage Channeler, Delver of Secrets, Murktide, and we've got Questing Druid to help us get a little value and as an additional creature that can come out and beat face. And the burn half is the 4 lightning bolts and 4 chain lightning. So we've got 8 burn spells in the list. These will not only help us flip our Delver, they will help us shovel a little bit of dirt under our opponent to help them get 6 feet under a little bit quicker. And we have supporting this, of course, the Daze, Wasteland, Force of Will, Shell. We've got all the cantrips, so we should have the card selection necessary to set up Delver of Secrets. We also have Mishra's Bauble, which helps us flip Delver and also couples very well with Dragon Rage Channeler, helping us get Delirium so we can do more damage more steadily. Mana base is very simple. We've got the 4 blue-red duels. We have a single trop, which we can fetch to cast the back half of Questing Druid. It is a creature you can cast in addition to having a really good kind of instant staple to it. And we have just 8 fetch lands and a single basic island. So we've got pretty good mana. I'm very happy with this mana base. We don't have a Surveil land, but this is a pure tempo deck, and you can argue that we don't want ETB tap lands at all. Sideboard is 3 Consign for Eldrazi, 2 Hydroblast. By the way, only 3 Consign, and we're not playing any of the Harbinger of the Seas because this is structurally extremely favorable against Eldrazi. Eldrazi cannot deal with burn. They can't deal with flying 3/3s that are hitting them from turn 2 on. You know, they're just not set up to be able to beat this other than Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void is a problem. We have a Meltdown here. We have 2 Brazen Borrowers main that can bounce Chalice out of the way, but I think Chalice is going to be our kryptonite, and hopefully we won't run into it. We have 2 Hydroblasts for dealing with red decks. We have 4 Pyroblast effects so that we can stop blue strategies. We have a Force Negation for control. We have 2 Grafdigger's Cage. That may seem slightly disrespectful of graveyard decks, but keep in mind, we have a lot of selection. Dragon Rage Channeler is going to help us shred through our deck. And also because we're attacking our opponent's life total so aggressively, it's possible that we can get them below the threshold with which they can reanimate creatures. So yeah, it'll remain to be seen whether this is sufficient graveyard disruption. In fact, I mean, I really do kind of want to put a Surgical in here just to complement this, because Surgical does help us flip Delver as well, and we don't necessarily need this 4th blast. I think I'm going to do that. All right, I don't make a habit of making on-the-fly substitutions and straying from my deck building, but yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun league. We're going to play the full 5 rounds as always. Leave comments with timestamps if you have feedback on my play. I am not an experienced Delver pilot, but I am going to do my absolute best, and I would love to learn from you if you are more experienced. Just leave a timestamp with comments on certain decisions I made and how I could have played more optimally. That will not only help me, it will help everyone else in the comments. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against Piao, who's been playing a lot of blue-black tempo. So this should be fun. This is really like the question that is on a lot of Tempos players' minds. Should I be blue-black or should I be blue-red? I think this is a keep. We have the basic. We don't really have anything that... Every single card in our hand matters here. I think I'm going to keep this, and we're going to just Delver here. And then we'll do the Delver trick to flip our Delver. We have Ponder to find another land next turn if we need to, if they're able to deal with our Delver. The main thing that they have that we don't have is Orcish Bowmasters. And the main reason Bowmasters is good is specifically Delver of Secrets. Getting pinged is like a pretty big pain. Let's go ahead and cast this out. And we're going to wait to their upkeep, and then we'll see what they're drawing. No, wait, we have to see what we're drawing. Sorry. Yeah, we have to be sure to see what we're drawing because we need to know how to stack the triggers. I am going to go ahead and do this now. We're drawing a Daze. That is fine. That may be really good depending on what they're trying to accomplish here. Definitely like the idea of having a second way to interact with a Bowmasters. I will Daze a interaction spell on my Delver. I do want this in play, dealing damage. This is fine. Okay. So we want to reveal first. So we put this on the stack first. and then we flip. So we're going to reveal the days, and our opponent is going to realize how in trouble they are. And now we get to draw, and it's a chain lightning. Definitely want to find a red source here. I'm going to go ahead and attack. And getting this ponder out of our hand isn't the worst because they do have Bowmaster. I think this is shuffle. I really, really, really want to find a red source. Okay, Wasteland is not the worst. I'm going to go ahead and play it out just because it's days protection, like it protects our days. They waste this, that's fine. We've got tempo on our side. We're on the play with a flip Delver. Plains, oh no. Shuko, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not worried about Shuko. I'm worried about other stuff that could come out next turn though. Now we have days and force. Still looking for a red source so we can deal maximum damage here. I'm going to go ahead and just play this now. And I'm going to cast it. I'm going to use it immediately to look at their card because I need to draw. Okay, they're drawing a Teferi. That's scary. But we do have lots of interaction for that. Technically, we have 2 days is up. All right, so we'll see what we draw here. I think another force would be totally fine. Okay, another Wasteland. We're probably not going to get a chance to use these. Oh, okay. So they have Nadu. That's pretty catastrophic here. Yeah, that is really catastrophic. And there's nothing we can do about this. They're going to get the Nadu triggers if they have Nadu right now, and they do. That's so frustrating. We were playing correctly. We were doing everything correctly. Yeah, it's so frustrating. Yeah, they just had precisely what they needed to stop us from being able to do what we needed to do. Brainstorm entered the field. Okay. They can equip again. We don't have any removal to stop this, unfortunately. So they got a Ponder and a Brainstorm. Wow, that's good value. And when we remove this, first of all, we're going to be able to borrow it back and waste. That's like literally the only thing we can do. We have to hope that that works. Yeah. Okay, this does provide us with a red source, which is not enough. Okay, so there is an argument that like, okay, we go ahead and we attack, and then they block, and then we bolt, and then it's like a 5-for-1 or something like that, but that may actually be better than anything else we can do here. Yeah, I want to see if they take the bait here. We probably shouldn't have even played that out because now they know we can get a red source. They're not blocking. Okay. I think we do want to waste them off of this. And I think we just chill because we can't really do anything else. They're going to get 2 more activations. We can potentially bolt one of the creatures that they put out before they can equip it with Shuko, but they can definitely equip that twice. Okay, they found a Tundra. It's bad news. I think this is fine. They can set up like to get another land off of this. I'm going to definitely force /daze the Teferi, and we're just going to hope that we can burn them out. Nomad, we had to force this. It's crazy, but we had to force this because this represents like so many activations. And it doesn't even matter. Like if they can stop this, we're just totally dead in the water. I don't know what they're thinking about. If they have the force, they should do it. Thinking about going down. So unfortunately, they can just target themselves here. All right, options. Scoop is one option. The other is we could bolt this, and that at least prevents them from being able to activate like as many times. They can actually point all the damage that we do to this to the thing. I think what we have to do is we have to hope that they, for some crazy reason, they attack and that we actually get combat in. I think that's literally our only hope. That somehow they just completely whiff off of and activations. They're going to have a lot. Okay, there's an activation. Tundra. Okay. They may actually be able to cast a fairy this turn, which is insane. Okay, they're targeting that. Okay, they do have the mana to cast a fairy. I will daze a Teferi. Okay, what do they have here? They got another Nomad. So they're going to get more activations. Okay. Narcomoeba, they can target this a bunch. It's going to be the upset of the century if we can somehow win. I don't think there's a way we can win, but I'm going to try. Maybe they crack this. They do something else to go low. I mean, they can just block. They got so much stuff up. I will daze a Teferi if they attempt to cast it. They are attacking. Okay. I'll take it. Sure. There's equipping Shuko over here just to have a slightly bigger blocker. I think I do want to just bolt this out of the way, sadly, because it represents like something they can target a bunch of times. And it also represents a blocker. They can definitely probably force this or do something. Okay, wow. So we are going to actually get to hit them for 3 here. That's good. Plow. Yeah, that sucks. I'm trying to think of what we can draw. We could draw like back-to-back burn spells. We do have a lot of burn in our deck. Okay, they're just going to go off again here. Nothing we can do about it. It's a broken card. I didn't even mention Nadu in the deck because I haven't faced Nadu a lot. I think like what we lost to was the very specific sequence of draws where they had that one card. Had they not had it, we would have probably been okay. Okay, so we can chain lightning them, but that shows more information about our deck. I think we just concede here. Let's see. Maybe we could brainstorm and we could find like 3 bolts. What have they revealed so far? Have they revealed any forces? They actually haven't revealed any forces. We do have double chain lightning, but we're not going to draw. Okay, so if I put this back, I put this back, we're still not going to have a second red source. I'm going to concede. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the indecision there. It was really rough, like having all that interaction and them just happening to have caverns. They probably only play like 1 or 2. So I do think burning out is like a totally legit path, but I think Pyroblast is much better. It's much more reliable. I do think this is a matchup where Grafdigger's Cage does not come in. And the reason is all my breakfast friends were like, don't play, Grafdigger's Cage against breakfast. So I can see the merit. Like it does shut off the combo, but you don't even care about the combo. You care about Nadu. Nadu is what breaks parity and gives them so many cards that they can use to win the game. Okay, so I think Daze stays in. I do kind of think the Force comes out. It's so bad. It's so bad against them because you're going down a card and it has to stay in though. I think the burn all has to stay in. Questing Druid does dig to more burn. And it is a win con. I feel like I want to bring in Price of Progress. I mean, it would have done a ton of damage there. And they wouldn't have been able to stop it. We would have probably been able to win. But it only does damage if they're like going off. They're definitely going to fetch their basics. They have a basic island, a basic plains in the deck. I think Chain Lightning is kind of meh here because we're like kind of upgrading it to Price of Progress, which can deal more than. Oh man, I'm just not sure. I like the bolts for sure. I'm just not sure about the Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is only 3, and like it just wouldn't have mattered there. If we take that out, then we haven't had to change our deck too much. We take out a single, like I like Borrower because it can bounce a token. I think I'm going to run it like this. And I would love feedback if you think that this is not the correct way to board. But my thinking is you might be arguing like, well, you should bring in more removal, not less. And maybe that's correct. This feels pretty powerful. I'm going to keep this. I always wait for a second so they don't think I'm like, oh, snap keep. But like if you think about this, this has Daze, this has DRC, which is the best creature in our deck. There is a very high likelihood that they have like a prismatic ending or something, but I will Daze to protect my lady. And I like the double bolts. Even though they don't do anything against Nadu, they do kill other creatures. Like, I mean, they do have a bunch of wizards in their deck that they also used to win, so. All right. I feel like this should be a favorable matchup. All right, they're not fetching. That's good for us. I think I'm just going to start by playing a land. We're not going to be able to get any equity in terms of... yeah, I'm just going to do this, get a Surveil trigger. That is an above average draw. But we're trying to be aggro. I mean, we've already got an instant in our graveyard. I think we keep it. I'm just going to attack. And I'm going to pass. We got Force up. Got a second bolt. that can stop the if they try to win real quick. We're still scared of Nadu, but they're at 15. Surveilling. Yeah, I was gonna say something about like digging for Wasteland isn't like a great plan here. I think it will be okay actually, but they play like probably like 19 lands, and they do have the basics. Okay, Wasteland is definitely going to take out the Meticulous Archive here if we can find it. Okay, Ghost Vacuum, not that big of a deal. I'm not going to like, yeah, they're not going to get to the mana level that they need. The reason they're playing this is just to be able to gradually chip away at our graveyard, which is effectual. Okay, so we're not shuffling because we want the Brainstorm on top. All right, I'm going to start by brainstorming, see what we get. And we're filling it with as much stuff as we can. Questing Druid is card that can attack, but it's also a card type for Delirium. My instinct is bin it and just bin as much stuff as we can. Okay, Delver seems slow at this point. I don't think we want either of these lands. I'll just put these lands back. Okay, and now we're still a sorcery or an artifact away. I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. I'm going to play out the Delver. I don't think they're likely going to have something that can stop it. We'll just play this out. I mean, it could be sloppy because they may have like enough interaction, but I've got two forms of interaction here. I feel like it's okay to go ahead and play this out. And then next turn during the upkeep, we can bolt to check and see if we can find anything to turn on Revolt. I think they're probably going to just take the creature out of our graveyard. That's the hardest thing to get back in there. Yep. Urza Saga will potentially be problematic. They can create a lot of power with it. Okay, they're just opting to do the Urza Saga plan, which is fine with me. I think I'm going to go ahead and bolt. That goes in the graveyard. Okay, let's see what we flip. Oh, no. We got to land. Okay, that sucks. I think we lost because we can't attack in now. These are bigger than our creatures. Yeah, we're like totally dead in the water here. Yeah, that sucks. I feel like we did have a window. I don't think forcing Ghost Vacuum is ever correct though. And I'll stand by that. Like it just is not that impactful of a card here, but it is going to be enough to stop us. Like one of the things about people are always like, oh, Delver, it's an invincible deck. Like it is actually a pretty, these cards are pretty weak on their own and they get weaker as the game goes on. And if you can't close quickly, that's just game, you know? I don't care about them needling this. They're going to get a Shuko. And you might say like, well, you should have held your bolts so you could hit these and then attack in. And yeah, I wanted to increase the likelihood that we had a flying threat. Because killing a construct, like they're going to have another one soon anyway. Okay, this is pretty bad for us. They can basically permanently keep these small. Okay, they're pondering. It's interesting that their assessment is, oh, I don't even need to combo you. I can just win with a fair plan. It's kind of like what they said when they just grab this instead. They are going to need to respect the fact that we can fill up our graveyard really quickly and do a Murktide. It wouldn't be a big Murktide, but they may crack their Lantern sooner rather than later. They may already have a Nomad in hand. That may be what they've telegraphed to us by grabbing that instead of Shuko. Nomad is a lot better than Shuko in terms of it can do instant speed, so it can do Nadu spam during your opponent's turn. All right. They're not attacking. They're just walled up, waiting to draw to their combo, which makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to hold this in case we find a Brainstorm. Let's see if we flip. All right, Price of Progress is a good card. It is a very good card. Okay. I'm going to force here. This is a risky play. So this is still on top of our deck. We definitely want that. 6 damage. They are forcing back. Okay. They're going to be able to remove our creature here. That's not good news. And then we're just kind of chilling, dead in the water. Yeah. They're down to 3 cards, but they've got good ones. They're not going to get Ghost Vacuum off or anything. They might draw a card with this. So we draw. Yeah, DRC is nowhere near Delirious. We would need 2 of these probably to win. So I think we just have to kick it. Yeah, I don't think this Daze is going to be great, but it is notable that Daze, like they're disincentivized from playing lands here. And here we're kind of the beneficiary of them doing that. I'm just going to pay. I don't really want to bounce this to hand. Well, maybe it's correct to do that. Yeah, I'll just do it like this. But I definitely don't want to price. This goes in our graveyard. We're a little closer to Delirious. But again, like Delirium can be taken away at a moment's notice here. Okay, the mana burns off. I think it was correct to do that just because we can potentially brainstorm this land away if we find a brainstorm, and that is the best draw in our deck right now. Murktide. Yeah, I think we just Murktide here. It's not going to be huge, but it is something. It is a game piece. They could win this turn. If we crack the fetch, they could just remove our graveyard. So, yeah, I'm just going to do this. Blue, blue, Murk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll leave the bobble in there. They can manually remove it later. So they're dead on board now. They basically have to win this turn because Price of Progress will kill them. They may have a force. If they have another plow, that also does it. They could plow their own construct with lethal on the stack. They are going to need to play out a green source, which makes them a little bit more vulnerable. Wow, they scooped. Okay. Wow, we got a game. That felt good. Okay. Was not expecting to win that game. Price of Progress, people. Way better than Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning in that particular situation. Now, I think what we do is we trim on Dazes. And maybe we bring in... I mean, Meltdown does destroy Shuko and constructs. It doesn't feel exceptional. Maybe we bring some more Burn in. Like, Burn does seem to be a weakness to their deck. I mean, we could just take out Daze completely. They're going to play around it. They're not going to play into it. And then we could just bring in all the Burn. And then we're just going to hit them repeatedly with Burn. Yeah, I think that's correct. I think, yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Like, maybe one extra force instead of one of the Chain Lightnings just as a little bit of a safety valve. We could take our basic island out. I mean, I've heard of Delver decks like boarding out lands, like boarding out Wasteland. So if we take that out, we have 13 blue sources, which is lower than I like to go. But our deck, I don't like that. I could see boarding out Wasteland, but I can't see boarding out an island. I think that's too risky. Yeah, especially when we're boarding out Daze, it doesn't make sense because, like, it would make sense if we were heavily on Daze to board in, to board out an island because we're likely bouncing stuff, so we're gonna have more land drops to make. But I feel like we shouldn't go down a land when we're So as you can probably tell, I'm just kind of figuring out how to play tempo in real time with this particular deck. I've played I think like 4 or 5 leagues total ever with Rug. Maybe not even that many, maybe like 4. Okay, so yeah, I think this is fine. I don't want to play 61 cards. I think we do probably drop a force. I'm going to cut a Chain Lightning. I don't want to go overboard. Yeah, we'll keep the force because we do need to be able to stop the combo. Maybe that's wrong. This seems pretty good. I like price. I like being able to waste them a whole lot. Filling up our graveyard, getting Delirium. The fact that this doesn't have any interaction, like if they just start fetching basic lands, I'm going to be pretty terrified because we don't do anything. But I feel like this is totally okay. We've already got the best card in the matchup in our hand. I'm going to keep. If they just have like an insane, like, island into, or plains into nomads and then turn to us, that is a risk that we're running here. This is probably basic island ponder. Yep, called it. Not that I'm like a genius or anything. Island ponder is literally on a Bosch and Roll shirt. All right. So I think here, gosh, that's a terrible draw. I'm going to go ahead and just look at their top card. I mean, like, I'm not going to pretend that I have a whole lot going on over here. Okay, force, that's good to know about. I'm just going to play this out, and we're going to... we want to keep momentum. I'm going to go ahead and ponder. Also, if you hear my kids playing piano, they love to play piano, and it's awesome. I think this is a shuffle. Yeah, I don't want that land ever. Bolt is okay. Bolt does kind of break up their combo a little bit. but we have to draw the bobble as well. I'm going to try to find a threat. Okay, Pyroblast is fine. Not great. It's okay. All right. All right. Merc's decent. We can't really play Merc right now. I am definitely afraid of Nadu here. Okay, double Pyroblast makes me less afraid of Nadu, but they could just have the freaking card that we're worried about. The Caverns. And we can waste it after the fact, but we can't waste it now. Okay. I am definitely in the market to Pyroblast anything they put on the stack that can be Pyroblasted, including cantrips. Please try to go for Nadu. Here, don't just wait, because I don't have any proactive things to do. Okay, yeah, they've assembled their basics. I'm just sitting here doing nothing, which is pretty humiliating. Wasteland is probably better than playing out yet another land here. I don't believe in fetching to thin. I'm going to take a look at my top card, and then I can decide whether I want to shuffle it away. I think that is not really where we want to be. It's kind of slow. Yeah, it dies to Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I don't think we want it. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to... I mean, I could just Merc here. It'd be the wimpiest Merc. I think I need to wait. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait. I'll go ahead and play the Wasteland because they may like play 2 non-basics in a row. I'm just going to go ahead and fetch this away now because I'm going to draw something else and I don't want to have to worry about doing stuff in my end step. Pass. So if you... so I denied them a Surveil, which is good. Oh, wow. Triple Blast. This is all the blasts we have in our deck. They're not going to do anything here. They're just chilling. It's fine. They're wary about playing out land, which is precisely where I want them to be. If we brainstorm now, we can shuffle bad stuff away. I think this is probably worth doing. I don't think they have like a Hull Breacher or anything like that. And if they do, we got to cover it. Okay. So I think we do probably just put 2 lands back. We'll draw 1 next turn. Oh no, I can't play this out this turn because then I drop out of Pyroblast. Yeah, this is bad. I should have kept the fetch. That was really dumb of me. So I'm going to draw a fetch. And also, I wouldn't have been able to flip this anyway. That was just a bad play, frankly. I hope I don't lose because of that one bad play. Hopefully, they remain in the holding pattern for a little bit longer. Okay, they're not discarding. Okay, great. So we are unpunished. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out. I've got tons of mana represented. I could go for the Murktide here. They may just have the Plow. I think it's fine to just put a Delver out and chill. If we can get even 1 swing in with this or draw some sort of interaction spell, it's pretty good. Might. Okay, and we did what we wanted. They didn't go to discard. I think end step, I do want to just go get another land. I'll go get the green one. It doesn't happen to happen end step. It can happen whenever. Actually, I think we do get the red one just because we have so many blasts. Yeah, I'm not going to get the green one on speculation that it'll be relevant later. Okay. I think we chill. We're going to start bolting end step and seeing if that like shakes up our opponent a little bit. But we are going to wait till end step to start bolting. They're probably assembling the exact cards they need to win right now. I would actually love to have yet another blue source because I would like to Murktide and have double Pyro interaction instead of just 1. So I would not mind drawing a land here, as crazy as that sounds. Our opponent is playing very carefully here. They usually play tempo decks, so they probably have our tempo player perspective, and they may very well be able to imagine what the contents of our hands are like, that we wouldn't be doing anything. Savannah? All right, I am going to go ahead and attempt to bolt them now. And you could say, oh, but you could hold this for a creature. Yeah, we definitely could. All right, and now I'm going to go into my turn. You never waste during your opponent's turn. You waste during your turn. Chain Lightning. I think it's okay to just bolt them here. Okay, and they're not sending it back. And we are going to go ahead and waste one of their lands. And then we're going to pass. So we're gradually kind of like chipping away at their life total. Is this going to be... What are they going to cast for green? Brainstorm? Okay, they're just prepping a Veil, I guess. I'm not going to counter that. Actually, yeah, their spells can't be countered. Yeah, that's fine. They may be planning to daze this. All right, so now that land is gone, I think it's more important to go out to the land than it is to get like a big price of progress. We'll try to get a big price of progress later. Okay, here's the Urza Saga. I'm going to let that trigger resolve. I know you can waste it with the trigger on the stack. I am going to go ahead and just bolt them again. Okay, they're at 9. I think at this point we just have to chill. I do want to take their land. I don't want to like lose because I played the Murktide and went off of any sort of interaction. Now they can stick the Cavern and potentially have back-to-back. Like, yeah, I think we just hold for another turn cycle. We might draw more bolts. We have 4 more in our deck. And they're fetching and they have a force that we know about in their hand. Okay, there's another one. That's fine. We've used 2 of our 4 wastelands. We haven't used very many cantrips. I would love to find a cantrip here. I'd also like for them to give me an opportunity to blast something. Okay, and in the end step, I am going to attempt to blast this. This is going to trigger the thing. Okay, and they flipped a Nadu and a Plow. Cards we don't want them to have. So we do need to worry about this Urza Saga. It's going to start creating constructs pretty soon. Okay, Borrower deals with one of the constructs. Oh, we could go ahead and go shields down a little bit and Merc here. We do have a Force and a Red Blast up. 1, 2, 3. I think it makes sense to just make this big. We only have 2 in our deck. If they Force here, that's okay. If they Plow here, that's also okay. I just want a 1-for-1 exchange of some sort. I don't want to stand still forever. Now, there's definitely a risk that they could have another Wizard and something to cover our Force. I am very worried. They've got 7 cards in their hand. They've got tons of mana. Teferi would be a beating. They might have days. I just felt we had to do something proactive there. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, they now have 2 non-basics, 3 non-basics. Okay, so if we can get to our turn, we've got a lot going on here. They are going to be able to do the Nadu thing here. I am going to attempt to kill Nadu on the stack. If they Force, I'll just Force right back. Now, if they have the combo, they have the combo. Okay, we won. We did it. Holy cow, I didn't think we were going to win. That was freaking chess match. Brought to you by Burn. Burn was absolutely instrumental in applying the pressure there safely. End-step bolt, end-step bolt. Yeah, that felt great. See you in round 2. All right, round 2. We're up against Bacon, Lettuce, Tomato with a pretty good hand. Let's see what they're likely on. They've been playing a lot of blue-green Beanstalk. I think this is a pretty good hand against that. They are a fan of the channel. They're mulling to 6. So this blue-green, if they're on the blue-green beans, basically the way it works is they use... Here, we can take a look at the list while they're trying to decide what to keep. There's an important card in here, which is... oh, they're not using the card. It's probably in the sideboard. Oh, I don't see it. But it's called Submerge. Yeah, I don't see Submerge here. Submerge is really powerful because you get the... you can get Gaia, or... What is it called? It's like Gaia or Yavimaya. And then all your opponent's lands are forced, and then you can Submerge for free and get a Beanstalk trigger. It's really cool tech. I think here we don't have Surveillant in our deck. We don't need to give away any information about what we're doing. I think I'm just going to open Tarn and pass. My opponent said, well, I hope you mulligan to Force of Will. Okay, I'm not sure. That might be just like facetious. Yeah, I'm just going to play my Volk and pass. Like we can Questing Druid instep. They may have a daze for it. We can daze back. I think, yeah, I'm just going to chill. Like, this is an extremely passive start from a Delver deck. But we don't really know what they're on. Like, they've been playing this a lot. Just to give you an idea, like, they've been playing Beanstalk for several months here. I think I just float here. yeah, what I'm going to do is then I can get this back. So I'm going to go ahead and Questing Druid now. Okay, so Questing Druid, Seek the Beast, and then if they try to interact with this, I can Daze. They're fetching. Okay, they are dazing here. Do I want to keep the land around? I could Daze back, use their mana for the turn. You know what? I'm kind of tempted to Daze here, and then after they pay, I can force, and I can get the trigger. That may seem aggressive, but I want to get my land out of harm's way. And I don't want this to go into oblivion. This represents a potential 3-for-1. They're trying to decide whether to pay for this Daze. Which I can't imagine what they have in their hand if they have better options than just paying for the Daze and potentially stopping my Seek. They may be wondering, why do you do that? But really, I just did that to protect my land. It is definitely tempting to hold the force in case of a Beanstalk, but that's at least 2 turns away. Okay, they're brainstorming in response. This is fine, because now they don't have mana to pay. Are they going to try to force? Do they have Spirit Guides in their deck? Like, that seems like a questionable play, because they could just pay for the Daze. So we're on the play. They've already made their second land drop, so they don't have anything else to do. They're going to be brainstorm locked with whatever they find on top. So we've dazed their Daze. They can't pay for it. Okay, and now we get to Seek. This seems like a really good deal for us. We saved our land. We didn't even have to force. Okay, here's the force. They're pitching Force of Negation. You know what? I think I'm going to be assertive here. This is a potential 3-for-1. I'll pitch our force. Borrower may be relevant. They have like lots of cards in their deck that we want to bounce back, like Murktide and stuff. Maybe they're playing this Hootie. I think they play Hootie. Hooting Mandrills, yeah. Ethereal Forger. So their whole deck is based around getting cards in their graveyard and then using those cards to fuel dredge threats. All right. So it looks like our force resolved. We get to Seek. We found 2 lands. Not the greatest, but we can just play out that land for sure. No reason to play the Wasteland at this point. So I can actually play out the Delta. I can go fetch the Trop. Okay, there it is. And we can just play this. Seems pretty good. We've got Daze up for their next threat. This island goes into exile, but we do have a creature that'll grow. So it's not the 3-for-1 we hoped for, but it was a 2-for-1. They're playing island. Okay, pass. So I'm expecting Murktide pretty soon. They've definitely filled up their graveyard. Chain Lightning is great because we can just fire it off at their face. And then we do extra damage. That feels great. They're paying Consider. Yeah, this is just loading up their graveyard. I don't care about this. I mean, I could technically Daze it to get more damage in, but I don't think it's worth it. I think we'll save. I think Daze will be good later because they've gone back. They tried to tempo us out when we were on the play, which sometimes works, but I don't think it's going to work in this case. All right, we've got the Wasteland for the next land. Unless they have multiple basics. They do actually play multiple basics. All right. Looks like they're passing without play. 4 cards in hand. DRC seems ridiculous. I want to play it out. This triggers Questing Druid. This Druid will be able to contend with Hootie and maybe eventually Murktide if the game goes on long enough. All right. That is in, and I am feeling pretty strong. Let's just swing for 3, and we'll pass. Like, I'm very glad to include this in my deck. Like, I think the actual cost of, like, including a Trop is pretty low, and this card is just exceptional in my experience. We're 1 card type away from Delirium, but if we get a chance to Daze, that'll be good. I expect them to be playing Daze, so I am going to bounce. I'm not going to stop that. The key, I see a lot of people just fire off Daze just to like limit their opponent's mana and stuff like that. I think that's almost never correct. Okay, we won. That felt great. So post board, I think they are on a lot of blue cards. So Pyroblast definitely makes sense here. I think that's it. I don't think we need anything else. These borrowers are going to definitely pull some serious weight here. We could take out the Dazes. They are playing a lot of basic lands. I think we take out 2 Dazes. They are a tempo deck, so I'm reluctant to take out any mana sources. Sometimes Delver players will take out the Wastelands. I don't think that's correct here. I'm going to keep all my burn in. Yeah, let's just do that. They saw Daze on my side, so they're going to... I mean, obviously, I'm just playing Delver. It shouldn't be a mystery as to what I'm playing here. This is a strong Delver hand. It doesn't do much other than just beat face, but I think it's keepable. If they have an early Beanstalk, that's a serious problem. I'm just going to attempt to play the DRC. It's usually actually correct to play the Delver first, I believe, even though it does give us selection. I'm tempted to just grab an island here. We have a lot of red in our deck, but I don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we have to draw land. Yeah, I'm just going to grab the Delver here. This is probably like not Daze worthy. And I don't think if their deck's blue-green, they don't play a lot of removal. If they Daze this, it's extremely favorable for us because now we don't really care about this. We care about getting momentum. And we have a second Delver that we can play, and now DRC is much closer to being Delirious. In fact, DRC could be Delirious as early as next turn. Not that we'd be able to attack with it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play out the DRC here. Wow, drawing lots of burn. This is potentially very scary for them. I'm going to play DRC first. That's the more important spell that I want to resolve through Daze, just in case they Daze again. Brainstorm in response, that's fine. Again, they're kind of incentivized to fire off these cantrips and just fill up their graveyard because their entire deck, like all these creatures, Delve spell, Delve spell, Delve spell. They've got 7 Delve spells in their deck. And it's all in the name of like triggering Beanstalk. So it's a really cool deck, but I can't bring myself to play decks that don't have a lot of removal. And blue and green, neither of those are removal colors. You need a removal color. All right. And then we can actually, brainstorm during upkeep to increase the likelihood of flipping this, and we can get some selection. If they Daze here, I'll be so happy. Oh, I'm so happy. No shade to my opponent, but I think that Daze is like perfectly good as like a mid-game spell too. You don't have to keep yourself on 1 mana forever by Dazing everything they put out. Okay, here's the waste. That's not a huge deal considering we have Brainstorm to find another land. But we do need to find another land. I'm glad I grabbed this. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and go for this here just to see if we can find a land. And we're bidding basically anything that's not land here. So this is a land, so we're going to keep it. That's great. All right, and we even got a second DRC and a freaking bobble. So we're off to the races. We are off to the races. I will repeat myself there. Chain lightning, chain lightning. Okay. We could surveil away one of these just to get Delirious. We're going to be Delirious anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't think we need this many chain lightnings. Maybe at this point we don't even care about Wasteland. Maybe Wasteland just isn't the plan. So we could surveil that away. We could surveil away 2 things and just fill up our graveyard. I think that's totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to put back the Chain Lightning because that's the one I'd least like to surveil away, but I definitely want to surveil away the waste. Because now we're just going to go ahead and play another DRC, so we get double trigger, cast, graveyard, trigger, graveyard. Again, we've got so much aggression going here that I don't think it's necessary. I am going to see what they're going to draw. They're drawing Mystic Sanctuary, which is not what they want to be drawing at this point of the game. It's a pretty bad draw. So if they waste us, they're foregoing developing, but that would be bad. Our entire hand is red. Okay, Murktide, I think, makes this game pretty winnable. Murktide's going to be a great follow-up threat. We've got a pretty thick yard here. 1, 2, was just 2 spells, and we don't want to go off Delirium. But we'll refill. What I'm planning to do is just hold up Pyroblast and not play this Murktide and just keep hitting him. Okay, there's the Tarn. And they're passing. Okay, another Chain Lightning. We could just do this to surveil, but we don't actually have a way to get anything. I think we want to hold up Pyroblast here. Pyroblast is potentially devastating for them. It sucks to be gated on red mana. But I'll feel really dumb if I chain lightning them and then they have like, well, I mean, I guess I could just kill the Murktide the next turn. I think that's maybe the scariest thing they could do here. Let's take a look at their list. I know it feels like cheating looking at this, but they can be doing this to us too. I mean, they already know the contents of our 75 probably if we're playing Delver. Yeah, I mean, they could commandeer this. That'd be pretty scary. If they commandeer and like aim the bolt back at my creature. I mean, that's like a lot of cards that they'd be pitching to do that. I think it's worth the risk because I'm going to get double surveil. I can definitely line up a land for next turn. I'm looking very much for a red land. And we're basically putting them dead on board. Tropical, that dream is dead. I just don't care about that. I care specifically about finding a red land. Yeah, we don't need this. This also makes our Murktide potentially larger next turn. They're forcing the chain lightning. That is... Oh, never mind. Sorry, the chain lightning resolves and does damage, then it goes to graveyard. It just looks like it's a force because whenever they force, like you see this red mark and it means they're going down in life. That's why you need to be very careful when you force something because you could be showing that you're about to force something. So I'm not even scared of Beanstalk here. Like we've just got so much momentum and so much pressure. Really, all I'm scared of would be like a Murktide backed with a force because then we'd have to attack into it. But even then, we might be able to just kill them anyway. Because we're going to deal 3 and then we've got chain lightning. So like fetches are off, forces are off. Okay, this is probably going to be a Murktide. Oh, Beanstalk is fine. It's too slow. They're dead, unfortunately for them, if this is all they can do here. Because even if they try to force our chain lightning, they're still going to take 1 from the force. Commandeer would still save them here. I am going to go ahead and play this out so I can commandeer here. Let's go ahead and attack first. That way, if they do have commandeer, they're doing it after combat damage. Submerge wouldn't even work here because we don't have a forest. So I think it's deterministic basically. Yeah, this is just like a brutal matchup for them. The fact that we've got the Pyros and their deck is so green heavy or so blue heavy. Makes a huge difference. Chain lightning getting it done. I went ahead and said the GG's there. They don't know that we have the pyro. They could have commandeer backed by force, and that could be a way that they could survive. This was a poor showing. I'll give you a better fight next time. No problem. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. Keep rocking this brew. Like I love it. Again, Marco Montani created a deck like this right after Beanstalk came out, I think. And people have been iterating on it and exploring it, and it's cool. But again, I can't bring myself to play a deck that doesn't have any removal in it. See you in round 3. All right, round 3. We're up against a likely Sneak and Show player, which gives me less fear about keeping this hand that is pretty soft to Wasteland. Doesn't have a lot of aggression. It doesn't have a force. You could argue we should put it back, but we do have Questing Druid. I'm going to ponder the fact that we've got 2 cantrips and we've got lots of burn. I don't know how good the burn is going to be here. I don't know. Maybe we do need a more aggro hand than this with more disruption. Yeah, I talked myself into it. I don't want to spend the first 2 turns like looking for interaction. This is a great hand actually because we got DRC into Bobble. So the card that's going to go back is going to be probably the Wasteland. Yeah. I mean, I hate to put back Wasteland against Sneak and Show. Delver is a pitch. Yeah, I mean, this may seem crazy, but I think I'm going to put back the Wasteland. And I'm just going to hope to get a very early Delirious DRC and hope that does some serious damage. And you may be wondering why I don't open with Delver when I was just talking about how Delver is really helpful for getting you to I'm gonna go ahead and check their deck and confirm. Okay, it always puts it under there. I actually will keep that because that is a second land, and that is a shuffle for my brainstorm if we need it. Let's go ahead and do that. Sneak attack. All right, that's the slow one, so that's a good. My opponent is an enthusiast of Flusterstorm, so that's something to keep in mind. We draw. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just deploy this Delver. That's fine. So I'm glad I didn't keep the waste because they're starting with basic, and by the time Wasteland is relevant, they may already have enough mana to get a game-ending spell on the stack. They are getting an opportunity to sculpt here. Okay, Bolt is great because it gives us near Delirium. I can actually Brainstorm, put the Delver on top, and then surveil it away with the Bolt. In order to do that, I do need to go ahead and grab this. So what we're going to do is we're going to surveil away the Delver, and we're going to hold a different blue card. And if there's no blue card on top, that's pretty unfortunate. My theory is that I just want to get this Delirious as quickly as possible rather than investing in developing a Delver. Let's see what we draw here. If we find a creature, I think this goes in the yard. We have 23, 24 blue spells in the deck. I definitely do want to put back this Delver if we can. Okay, another Delver and a Daze. I think this is great. I don't need this land right now, so I'm going to put it on top, I guess. I'm going to put the Delver back. The other option is I could drop the Delver. I just want to hit for 3 now. This may be impatient, because Delver in the grip represents us being able to force and Daze, which may be relevant. Okay, let's go ahead and attack. They're at 13 already. So we did live the dream of getting a Delirious DRC on turn 2. That's what you want to be doing with this deck, in my humble opinion. If they Ancient Tomb or something like that, that speeds up the clock, but it also speeds up the likelihood of them arriving with a game-ending spell. This deck, our deck simply cannot beat Atraxa, however you want to pronounce it, and it can't beat Emrakul. I mean, actually, it can beat Emrakul through burn. We'd have to get lucky. I am excited to draw this Wasteland, though, because we're keeping the game low resource. Daze will also give us some selection here. Petal. Okay, this represents Show and Tell. Double Petal. Please invest. Invest. We know you have that Show and Tell. Or that Sneak Attack, I mean. This is great because this allows me to surveil away the Wasteland, which I don't want now because they're on basics. Now this is where they probably force or exile a Spirit Guide, and then we have to force. They Daze. That's unfortunate. Let's see whether this force works. Borrower actually does save us. If this resolves, I'm gonna keep it. Please force it now. I'm fine with you forcing it now. They're forcing it. Whoa. Okay, now if they have a way to put mana on, we're dead. Oh, they're passing. So close. My goodness. All right, and because we found the Borrower, which is like the best possible, let's go ahead and do this now. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna get sneaky here. We get a Surveil. Daze is definitely keepable at this point. They are pretty crimped on mana. Let's go to combat. Drop into 8. Gosh, this is a rush. If we draw another land, we can deploy the Borrower, but like it's already done a great job. Okay. Going all the way with this DRC. Come on, we can do it. Team DRC. They don't have any stack board interaction in their entire deck, I don't think. I will Daze floating a blue here. I'm not going to risk them blowing me out with Daze. All right, they're not doing anything. Brainstorm is a great rip. I'm just going to attack, and I'll save the Brainstorm. Actually, I probably should Brainstorm now because they do play Flusterstorm, and I don't want to add to the storm. Is that even necessarily a big deal, though? So we could Brainstorm into a Bolt here, and that just ends the game. Don't really need that. Okay, another DRC, a land. I don't think either of these matter. This is a backup threat. I think I am going to play out the island just so we have a little more mana if we need it. And now they need to have a lot of mana. They need to put the thing into play, and then they need to also have a red mana to activate it. This is Show and Tell. I'm going to attempt to daze this, but we may be dead. Now I am going to surveil this away because nothing really matters here. If they have the Emrakul, they're paying for it. Okay, and now I guess we can just put this back in play when this resolves, and then we can... They do have Emrakul. Check this out. We've got double threat. We can win. We can win through Emrakul. This is insane. That was an insane game. Absolutely insane. That was great. Wow. Everything lined up. We used the full buffalo there, the full whale, whatever is least inappropriate anachronistic statement. Yeah, we literally used every card, every mana. That was a perfect game of Magic the Gathering. Force of Negation comes in. Hydro comes in. We've got so much interaction. It's not even funny. Murktide, slow. Borrower, good. Bolts, I think, are good. Like, you don't want to give them time. Force needs to stay in. I mean, we could take out the Dazes on the draw. We're bringing in better stuff. Daze is free interaction, though. I think there's like a low likelihood that they... non-basics here. We could go down on these and we could just trim the Dazes. And then we could keep the Murktide in as a closer. I don't know about Murktide here, to be completely candid. They probably have Pyroblast of their own. I don't know. I think like I would probably just keep these Wastelands. I mean, they aren't totally useless. They are pretty useless though, frankly. Like, they're really only good if our opponent plays like a Soul Land out. Consign can stop the One Ring. It can stop the Emrakul, get an extra turn trigger, but they're never going to actually cast Emrakul, so that doesn't matter. So they don't get the cast trigger. I mean, my instinct is to keep a few Dazes in. But what do we cut? We've already cut the Mercs. I mean, Chain Lightning is not spectacular here, but it was really good there. We did a lot of... we just bolted them, but I can definitely see a situation where being able to bolt them out is going to be useful. Yeah, I'm going to cut the Dazes. They'll probably respect them anyway. I mean, Daze was such an instrumental card in that match. All right. Hopefully this is a favorable matchup for us. I mean, we've got so many blasts. We've got 5 blasts against them. This is... yeah, I mean, this is double force hand with a Delver opening. I think we keep this. Delver does get the clock going. We don't have red, which is a little troubling. But we do have Brainstorm to find it. Okay, they're opening Ponder. If we draw a blue card, then we'll have double force up. I'm a little worried about not having double force up. I also presume that they have Daze in their deck. I think I want to... gosh. If we Delver here, it gets the clock going. I think that's important. They're probably going to respect Daze. They might try to jam with Daze back up. And then we only have 1 force. I think we need to go for it. And Delver aficionados, please let me know if this play was greedy for me to play out the Delver. If they have, what's it called? Defense grid, then we probably have to stop that. Pyroing it, sure. All right, so Wasteland continues to be a bad card with this current setup. We did find red mana. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to just go ahead and bolt them here just to get something going. Because this does feature... well, we took Murktide out of our deck. Yeah, I think I'm just going to be mana efficient and bolt them here. The other thing I could do... actually, I think I'm going to Brainstorm away these bad cards. Yeah, I'm going to wait until their turn, but I do want to Brainstorm away these Wastelands. I may not need to Brainstorm away both of them. Chain Lightning is arguably a bad card because it's not a recurring source of damage, just a one-time burst of 3 damage. And we might need that to close the game later, but it's not necessarily relevant here. All right, I am going to attempt to Brainstorm. Don't Hull Breacher me. Okay, this is great. So I'm going to put these back. Oh, wait, we do have a wastable land now. We get double selection off the Bobble. I kind of want to hold the Chain Lightning. I think What I'm going to do here is, well, Chain Lightning can't be cast immediately. That's an argument against it. Okay, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to go to my turn. I always do this during my upkeep, just so I have mana untapped if I need it. Gosh, this is an intense matchup. All right, let's go get our Volk. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and waste without putting anything on the stack. I don't want to give them an opportunity to daze to protect this. All right, let's go red here. Let's bobble. This is an above average card. However, putting it in the graveyard makes us delirious. I guess we were already going to be delirious from this anyway. It's not blue, and I like to stack my hand with blue cards at this point. So we've got our a beater up now. Let's see what they're drawing. A Flusterstorm, that's good to know about for sure. I'm going to go ahead and play this out too. That, I think, can go in the graveyard. It's just 3 damage. Yeah, we're looking for blue cards specifically. I think I want both the cards now. I don't want to wait, so I'll just go ahead and take a look at what my next card is going to be. So I already know their top card. Delver is a blue card, so we're going to have at least 1 blue card next turn. I'll pass. Because you definitely don't want to pitch Force to Force in this matchup. You want to hold it. Hydroblast would be like probably the best draw in the deck right now. Okay, this is not terrible considering they have Fluster. It will be of diminishing value. That's fine. Okay, so my goal is to just hold up all our mana. Hydro. Haha, yeah, that's a great card to draw. Okay, so I think I'll just play this out and I'm going to attack. I don't want to get rid of either of these cards in my hand. If they go for it, I want to be able to pay for Fluster. So my whole goal is to survive their initial volley and then start hitting them in the face. This is kind of a weak position though. Maybe I should have bolted. They don't have a land. I think I'm going to bolt this turn. They did shuffle their ponder, by the way. I do want to play this out just because it's additional interaction. I think at this point, I could potentially play out the Delver. I'm going to play this out. I'm going to go ahead and attack. I'm going to play out the Delver. Because I have the Hydroblast, I feel a little more comfortable doing that. And I just want to race them, basically. And I think if they give me something to blast, then I can do card selection on the top. Okay, they're not doing anything. This is great. We can't sorcery. This is sorcery. Otherwise, I would definitely do it to ensure we flip Delver. Hopefully, we'll flip it anyway. It's a decent chance. It's like a 1 in 3. Okay, I'm not going to reveal that card. But I do think it's worth drawing just because this puts Hardcast Force on the table. This is a lot of additional mana to disrupt Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm is kind of a bad card now. There's no reason we need to cast this. We can hold it in our hand and be scary and potentially win with it later. Yeah. I just want to maximize. So we're pitching Force to Force and then we've got Hydroblast up. It's kind of how I'm thinking. There's a Petal. That represents Fluster. Here comes Show and Tell. Show and Tell is going to get forced. Force pitch force. We get a card selection here. That's going in the graveyard. Okay, and they may be dead. Let's see whether this flips. If this flips, they're dead. Okay, so I want to set a stop here. Okay, I do have a stop here, so I should be able to shuffle this away. All right, I think we just win. Let's go ahead and attempt to bolt them. Questing Druid is a good card, but I'm looking specifically for Force. They can Fluster, but they're not going to be able to survive. Okay, let's see. Fluster. So, yeah, I believe I can pay for Fluster here. Let's see. Fluster plus 2 Storm. Yeah, I believe I can pay for it. Chain Lightning so strong. Yes! Wow, that felt amazing. Chain Lightning. All right, we're 3-0. We've only lost 1 game. Let's go to round 4. Round 4, we are 3-0. We're up against an unknown opponent on the play again. Heck yeah, allow listed. This seems great. This is a double force hand. We don't have anything really proactive to do, but we don't know what they are on. So I think it's totally fine to like hang back and learn. So since I don't know what I'm pondering for, I am going to just chill for a turn. I mean, I'm pondering for a threat most likely, but if they fire off a waste, I mean, we could get in a situation where we're unhappy that we took the initiative. They've got Goblin as their... okay. So this is definitely giving me Sneak and Show vibes. This could also be the Epic Storm. The Epic Storm play... Okay, Dismember. What deck plays that? These two? I don't know. I think I just want to find a threat here. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just ponder and then... Oh, yeah, that's great. I don't anticipate the need for basics when my opponent's starting with a non-basic. I think I am going to fetch Underground. I'll fetch a Volk and I'll ponder. And if I find a Wasteland, I might just waste them. Because one reason they might bin that in the blind is because they're looking for land. Okay, these cards... I don't think we need these. They do help us get Delirium. Actually, Bobble helps us figure out what our opponent's doing. I think it's worth keeping that for sure. And then based on that, we can decide whether to keep Days. Because if they're on combo, I will want to keep the Days. Yeah, I like this a lot. And then we even have Bolt if they seem to be on some creature strategy. We already have a Bolt, though. I can't imagine that being relevant. So I am going to go ahead and just bobble them immediately. Force. Okay. That doesn't tell us really much of anything. I think Days will be good because we might be able to walk them into... Days on some spell later. I think I will take this Days. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll just chill for another turn cycle. If we find Brainstorm, we can potentially... Well, yeah, I'm going to shuffle away this this Bolt, I think. Sneak and Show is a bad matchup if you're slow. If you're fast, it's okay. That's one of the reasons why I'm proactively trying to find a threat. And our deck is a little... like more threat like, oh, you know what they could be on? They're on freaking Cascade. That's why they're playing Dismember. Okay. So now that we know that we're on Cascade, we're definitely glad we kept these spells, but the Bolt is definitely going to go back. It doesn't kill their Rhinos. Yeah. Cause when I saw the green, that's when I realized, oh, it's Cascade. Okay, cool. Now that we know what they're on, and I think I've sufficiently induced, not deduced. Sherlock Holmes used the word deduce incorrectly, and the rest of the world has followed him and continue to do so, but I will not. Okay, perfect. Delver is great. It is... I do think we play at this land because they play like... it's probably out of the board, but they play like this card, Mystical Dispute. We might need these lands, is all I'm saying. Okay, cool. So hopefully this flips. We've gotten a lot of land out of our deck, so it's slightly more likely that it flips. Our Delvers are slightly more likely to flip than the average Delver. They're smarter than the average bearer because we have a whole lot of additional instants and sorceries. I think we're playing 24 instants and sorceries, whereas our opponents, or most Delver players, are only playing 23. So it's only one, but it does make a big difference. You can like plug it into the hypergeometric calculator. Yeah, more 3-drops. So Cascade. Wasteland, by all means. All right, this is Charlotte's Agent. I can just bolt the agent. I will counter whatever they cascade into. They are going to cascade into Crashing Footballs, which I'm just going to Daze. They have green. They are using Elvish Spirit Guide mana to pay. That is unfortunate. I think it makes sense. Brazen Borrow can deal with one of those in case we have to race. I think it makes sense to pitch Force here. Force, pitch, Force. I mean, if we lose this battle, we're probably dead anyway. Do they have a Force as well? They did it on our turn, so Force and Negation doesn't work, but they may have their own Force. Wow, they have the Force too. Spectacular beating. Okay. I think I'm going to be mana efficient here, and I'm just going to borrow one of these out of play. I could have waited till end step to do that, but I don't think they're going to do anything further. I haven't played against Cascade in a while. It was basically banned when Vexing Bobble was a card people were playing. All right, Brainstorm to shuffle away this. Volk would be good. Delta, no, not like this. I think we're probably dead. Yeah, we can't do anything about that. So I think the hunter has become the hunted. We just need to accept that. Delta, I like holding it. I can just play the borrower out. I can do that now. I don't. Yeah, I mean, we could bolt this. I don't think that's where we want to aim our bolt. And I do think it makes sense to go ahead and play the borrower out now. We're not doing anything on their turn, and we can reduce the likelihood that they are able to counter it. And I don't... They may have Fury. Fury just cleanly mops up all this, but we're like pretty dead if they have Fury too. So we're going to take 6 here. I'm not going to block the Charlotte's Agent. I'm going to try to still be the aggro deck. I'm absolutely going to bring in Price of Progress, I think. I think that'll be a good card here. Probably better than Chain Lightning, since Chain Lightning hits so little of their creatures. I'll probably take out Daze. Yeah, Daze comes out. All the blasts come in because they have red spells and greens and blue spells. Okay, we're going to take it. Drop into 11. We're on a 2-turn clock, effectively. Like, Bolt does change it a little bit. Come on, Delver. I think if Delver flips, we might have a chance. What is this? Are they going to go for another one? Oh, no. They have Violent Outburst. Those aren't Violent Outburst colors. Oh, Fire. Fire. That's brutal. Totally brutal. Okay, so Delver doesn't matter. And there's no reason to show them what we're flipping. I don't think we have any sort of chance. Murktide might save us. Actually, Murktide's pretty big. They're thinking about wasting us too. Questing Druid is precisely the kind of card we want. We're not going to reveal it. Okay. So there's a big temptation to just play this out now and then bolt this. And then we have a 2-2. They can attack back. I don't really want to wait. I think I'm going to go for this. Seek the Beast. We can always cast this next turn. If I can find a Murktide, that's huge. Force of Negation. They had everything. They pitched a borrower. Okay, that sucks. Well, I think we do need to take this off the table just to buy ourselves a little bit of time. But I'm just holding out for Team Merc. And I did play that out because, I mean, we need a shuffle effect anyway if we draw garbage before we are going to be able to brainstorm stuff away. If I draw Wastelands, I'm going to want to fire them off. So, yeah. Let's hope that this is like what their entire game plan depends on. Brazen Borrower number 2 is still something that we could draw. They have a lot of mana up. They could play like Minsk and Boo, which would just be a total devastation. Okay, they didn't play anything. DRC, set us free. That is Delirious. All right, and we're just going to take this hit and hope to find an answer. There are lots of things we can potentially find. But they have Fury. They've got a lot of stuff that they can potentially use to disrupt us further. 4 damage inbound. This has to attack, so we're dead on board. Not that we would want to hold it back. We're most likely just going to draw like a bolt effect. They've used 1, 2 borrowers. Let's see. If we get a Murktide, it's possible it can come in and wall up for a while. Bolt's not... Yeah, this is it. This is the end. Okay, we tried. All right. Post board. Let's take a look real quick at what they revealed. They revealed a bunch of Violent Outbursts. They did not reveal... Okay, Lorien revealed pretty stock build from before. I don't think anything was printed in Modern Horizons 3 that made it into the deck. Okay, so... Price of Progress does more damage than Chain Lightning. That is an argument in its favor. Here, I'm going to put all the definitely include cards here. Like, no keyboard for you. Okay, so I think all 3 Pyroblasts come in. That's an easy one. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't do anything here. Because I think you exile the spell before. Let's see. Yeah, because you keep exiling them, so there's no interaction. Cascade has you exile the cards. Okay, I just want to double check. Okay, so Force Negation definitely coming in my humble opinion. Consign can actually stop the trigger. the Cascade trigger. I feel like that is an option for sure. And then Hydroblast, I think, is definitely an option. I mean, they're mainly... Yeah, there's Fury in the deck. Okay, so cards that are coming out, I think all our bolts are coming out. Like, I know that may be disappointing to people, but I don't think they're good in this matchup. They don't pitch to force. They do give us range, for sure. I think Daze is pretty mediocre, especially on... well, we're on the play. Maybe it's not that bad. I mean, it's possible the Price of Progress is not viable because they... I can easily see a situation where we're so low on life that we can't pop them, like last game. So I don't think we bring it in, actually. Sorry. We're going to go non-burn this one. Questing Druid is great. Yeah, I can't think of what to cut. We need to make one cut. Maybe we cut one of the consigns. It's good, but it's not... Well, I mean, it stops a lot. Stopping Cascade is very relevant. And we can even... like, you stop Cascade, their deck sucks. I don't know. Maybe we take out Force Negation. They're going to often be doing it on our turn. Yeah, I'm going to take out Force. All right. On the play again. This is a Delver hand. We can just Island Delver, and then we can start beating them down. We've got Disruption. I like it. If they have a really early... yeah, I don't want to play into Wasteland. They also potentially play Blood Moon, which is not a big deal if we have an island. So I'm just going to Island Delver here. This is a fun mashup. Okay, they're milling to 6. 5. And what Delver really does is it just, if somebody is not like, if they have a shaky hand at all, or if they are just like even a turn or two too slow, Delver really punishes that. That's the whole tempo thing, right? All right, so we're going to Delver here and we'll pass. And I definitely want to keep up interaction. We are keeping up days. So it's not like we're completely naked, but I am apprehensive about the elements that we're about to have to brave. And the elementals that we may have to brave too. Okay, so I could aggro flip this. I'm not going to do that. I want to save my Brainstorm for a perfect Brainstorm. Brainstorm, we did it. Delver flip, achieved. I am going to attack first, and then I'm going to ponder for a land. And I think I'll take any land, including Wasteland. All right, let the bloodletting commence. Ponder. I definitely... Okay, this... I did say I would take any land. These are all good cards. I'm going to take the Wasteland this turn because I do want to make a land drop. And that way I can pay for days on days. They're not going to days, but they might have something. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure that Wasteland is correct here. It feels better. If they waste our waste, then we can't do anything. But that is getting Wasteland out of the way. Yeah, I think next turn we just bobble into Consign. Yeah, so I'll put the Consign on the bottom. I'll put the bobble down there and we'll make our land drop for the turn. Because we might be able to draw into another land drop next turn. This also kind of puts them on notice that they can't fetch Surveil lands. If they fetch a Surveil land, I will snap waste it. Okay, Wasteland. This is what I was talking about where they can waste our waste. That's fine. They're going to go get a basic, I presume. Yeah, Forest. Crashing Footfalls suspend mode. Sure. You love to see it. And you know what can stop the coming in? We can just consign that. I do want to reduce their mana. I'm going to wait and see what's on top of their deck first. They've got a Thundering Falls on top. I want to wait. Yeah, I mean, the result of wasting them is not any different. We're potentially giving them a turn where they can do stuff, though. I think it is correct to go ahead and waste. If they don't use this, we do have extra consign mana. I'm going to waste. All right, so we draw a consign here. If they don't do anything, I'll probably just Brainstorm Instep to be mana efficient. So I'm going to go ahead and show this because I don't want to miss the trigger. That would be embarrassing. That's fine. Okay, and I'm just going to Instep Brainstorm. It's not something I normally do, but we're gated on mana right now. I'd love to find another waste. This is exceptional. Murktide is probably not going to be necessary. It might be. Actually, it's something we can easily just bin for the sake of getting Delirious. We don't have instant in our yard. That's really easy to get in the yard. I think we just don't worry about binning Murktide. I don't really want the Murktide, though. So I'll just do it like this. I'll draw the land, Yeah, I'll just shuffle away the Murktide. I'm looking to max my interaction. And we are going to go and Valk here so we can step up the clock. We are delirious now. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I forgot that the Brainstorm was going to go in the graveyard. But yeah, we're delirious. They're on like basically a 2-turn clock. This feels very good. We don't have any direct damage in our deck, so we do need to be cognizant of that. One thing we don't have to worry about currently is them winning off Crashing Footfalls. Hydroblast and Daze in our hand makes me feel a little safer. Okay, they're going to go for this Cascade. I will just attempt to consign the Cascade. Okay. This Ponder is not necessary. We've got plenty of other stuff. Like, we're more gated on mana. They force here. We can Daze. They can potentially pay for Daze, but we're going to kill them in the air. Okay, we win. Good. Whew. Some intense action here. I think Daze comes out completely on the draw. And then we can bring back in... I mean, they did have 2 non-basics, and they could have 3. I think Force comes in on the draw, and I think we bring in a couple bolts. I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sold on Price of Progress yet. I think Price of Progress really is just like an Eldrazi and like 4-color control type matchup card. I think people probably overboard it because it is symmetrical and we don't have very many basics ourselves. This is one of those hands where we get completely destroyed if they have a turn 1 or if they have their own Wasteland. I don't think we keep this. They're mulling 2. Okay, this is better. This is better. So I'll just put back one of the lands, and then we've got lots of action. We've got turn 1 Dragon Rage Channeler, Surveil up. We've got Hydroblast, which is okay. It's not exceptional. Yeah, I'm going to put this back. I want to fill up my yard. I don't mind taking the damage. Or paying the life, rather. It's technically a discrete game action thing, or a different type of thing. Okay, this is great, because we could actually open Delver. Yeah, I think we could just island Delver. Feels good. This gives us, a little bit more stable mana. And next turn, we'll have plenty of things we can do. It's worth noting that you can't Mystical Dispute a DRC, but you can Mystical Dispute a Delver. I mean, you can't get it with a discounted price. Mystical Dispute is like target spell cost 3 more. If this targets a blue spell, you only need to pay 1 blue instead of... Normally you have to pay 1 blue and 2 colorless to cast it. Come on, Delver. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe I should have brainstormed there. It didn't feel right. I think we can go ahead and just attack for 1 here. I don't think they could surprise us. Okay, they're not surprising us. I feel pretty confident that we've got something big coming next turn. I like Hydroblast because it deals with Fury. We may very well have to use that. I would love for them to pitch cast Fury and for us to just be able to Hydroblast it and even force fight over it. I think that'll, we'll potentially win here. Okay, Wasteland. I'd be very happy if they waste me here. I think that what they're going to do is they're going to do something during my turn, but they don't have red mana for Violent Outburst. I think... Gosh, are we going to brainstorm here? They could have the Mystical Dispute up. We do get at least a Surveil if we brainstorm here. I think I want to do it. And we'll get an imperfect brainstorm. If they have Hull Breacher, that's potentially catastrophic. This goes in the graveyard. Thank goodness we dodged that. I'm glad I did that. Now we can just put one of the cards on top. It looks like they may be interacting here. If they counter, it's not the end of the world. Okay, they've passed priority, so now we get to draw, I believe. This brainstorm goes off. Okay, great. So what we want to put on top is probably the Force. Actually, we can hold the Force. We can just show them the Hydro. I think that's probably fine. So I don't want this Wasteland at all. So I can mill it away with the Bubble. Actually, if I had put the Delver there... does this matter? I don't think this is the fight. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just redeploy it. I could potentially deploy 2 this turn If I Tarn first, then there's a higher likelihood that we bin a creature here and then we get Delirious. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, that's a nice dodge. So we're not going to get Delirious this turn, unfortunately. They got another Wasteland coming. That is kind of bad news. But we're going to have Double Delver. Do we want Double Delver? I feel like Double Delver is potentially so strong that it's worth it because... And yeah, we're going to be pitching... no, I don't want to do it because Hydroblast... Like, they could just come in and wipe our entire board with the Fury, and I want to have Hydroblast and Force to prevent that. So we're going to be a little bit more cautious here. The good news is if they're drawing Wasteland, they may not have access to red, which is what they used for, what's it called? Violent Outburst. So we get to draw Wild here. Pyro, that's great. We probably won't have mana to use it, unfortunately. I would love for them to give me something to Pyro here before they waste me. I think here is a Force on the spell. We've got to stop that. That's going in the graveyard. I don't like to bin that because I think they're going to waste us off our stuff. I'll probably just fire off the Pyro to get a... I'll just fire it at this if they waste us. Just to remove material from the board. And to get another trigger. Okay, let's get rid of that. Surveil trigger. Can we line up a spell, please? That will do quite nicely. Yeah, and we'll get to bolt them before they can waste our other land. So, and we'll just do that. We'll be proactive about bolting them. 3 card types. Yeah, we're not Delirious yet. So it was really important to kill that thing. So let's reveal our bolt here. Okay, we're going to attack for 4 here. We are vulnerable to them doing their thing. I think I am going to go ahead and bolt them now. And my reasoning is if we can get Delirious, it's so good. We already have that in our graveyard. I don't really want to draw it. It's not worth drawing here. Yeah, we just need a sorcery or a creature. But we did do 4 damage there. It's not the end of the world. They can bring this out later, and that will be problematic. Getting the MTGO spinner again. Okay, good. It resolved itself. They're at 11. We can potentially race. If this gets Delirious, we can potentially race. They don't know that we have Hydroblast as our last card. I wouldn't be surprised if they waste us here. I think if they had a Force effect, they would have used it when we stopped their Crashing Footfalls. The dream is they Fury and we can blast it. They are wasting us. They're passing. All right, I'm just going to take it patiently. Petty Theft. That's irksome. We can redeploy. Another Bolt is unfortunate. I think we do redeploy, even though we're kind of walking into Fury. I just don't think we have the luxury of playing around Fury at this point. We need to keep applying pressure. Okay. They can do the thing now. We've put most of our lands in graveyard. I don't have any illusions that we're going to get more land going this game. Fire would be devastating if they have it. Fire, nice fire. Yeah, and they have it. That is absolutely devastating. I think we probably lost. Because they have their combo, but they also have double Brazen Borrower to finish this off. There are a sequence of draws, like starting with a land, that we don't deserve, frankly. Murktide is a potential answer. Let's see. I'm going to try to calculate how many lands we have left in our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have something like 12 potential lands in our deck that produce mana. Or it's 14. Yeah, I mean, we might be able to find it. But they're not doing anything, which is nice. They are going to start deploying these. Wow. That's freaking awesome. All right, we're going to go for it. Gigantic Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go all in on this guy. I know that they have Brazen Borrower, but they've already used 2. I'm just not going to be afraid. And this should be able to... Okay, yeah, they've got the Mystic Dispute. This is the card I was mentioning. Okay, well, that sucks. And if they have a Wasteland, that really sucks. But, yeah, they still have the ability to deploy one of these, and they should. If they don't, for some reason, that's a mistake. Okay, they're going to deploy it. They're dropping to 8. I mean, maybe we get into a situation where we've got like 3 bolts back to back. We've only got, I think, 3 in our entire deck. There's the Violent Outburst. This is dangerous because now we're going to be taking 8 each turn. So we've really got just 2 draw steps. So a Murktide, maybe a Seek the Beast into something good could work in time, but I think we're probably goners. Fire Ice 2025. My goodness, that card was such a house this matchup. That was definitely the card of the matchup. Just struggling to get Delirium. Absolutely devastating. And they still have these, so like we're really on a 1-turn clock. They want to put that out. Well, this is going to be a pretty puny one. Yeah, it's a 3/3. I went all in. That's pretty tiny. Like, there's nothing we can do to get stuff out of our graveyard. I'm trying to think about this. I mean, like a freaking Brazen Borrower trades with it. We might be able to bolt and attack through. My instinct is to just bolt now, and then at least we get the 4 power, and we can trade with one of these. But I think we're dead if we do that. Yeah, sadly, I think I have to bolt the Borrower that they cast this turn, and then we have 1 turn to survive. And what can we draw to survive? I don't think we can draw anything. Yeah, again, these Borrowers proving to be insane. Yeah, I think we the trophy's dead. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys and gals. Gosh. Yeah, it was a high variance draw. I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this just so we get another turn. Okay, and our bolt might not even resolve here. Okay, so they can technically play land because I didn't have a stop in my FQ. It doesn't really matter. We're dead. They've got another one coming next turn. And it's worth noting that we wouldn't be able to win through what's it called? Price of Progress. They were very diligent about just fetching basics here. So we're at 1. Yeah, there's nothing that saves us. I don't even know why I'm still playing. I just want to see what we would draw. Brazen Borrower is an insane card. I can't remember. I think we might have had the choice to fetch here. I'm going to just end it. Boom. Good games. All right. Let's go to round 3. I didn't expect to lose that. I feel like that is a favorable matchup, but we just had a drought of instants and sorcerers. We did rip a lot of lands. We dodged a lot of lands. I guess we didn't rip enough lands considering they were able to waste us down to 1 land at one point, but yeah, I don't regret any of the decisions I made there other than maybe making the Murktide larger than it needed to be. Because, yeah, they could have countered it. I was like, oh, they're not going to be able to bounce it, but they still had the counter. So I think that was the punt. I probably just needed to make it a 5/5. And then I would have had like 1 or 2 power for the second one. And then we would have been able to at least block for a turn. I think we still would have lost because we block one of the tokens when they attack, and we take 7 because we can block a token, but we can't block the flying, the Brazen Borrower. And then we bolt the Borrower, and maybe we stabilize. Maybe we stabilize if we do it that way. So I think that was the punt. And it's important to like look back at games and try to evaluate them to figure out whether there was some punt where you could have played differently. And there definitely was. I can't remember how many cards. I think I exiled like 3, but if I just exiled 2, that would have made all the difference. So, Delver is a hard deck to play, and you're making all these decisions on the margins. We're up against an unknown player. There's an all-access pass going on right now that MTGO put out to apologize to the lag, and I'm actually going to be playing an all-access card that I can't afford to buy in real life in the next video that you're going to watch on this channel, assuming it doesn't like completely crater and I don't just get completely destroyed, because nobody wants to watch somebody struggle and get destroyed with their brew. Let's see. They play Burn in Pauper. They only play Pauper. If they're on Burn, this will race them. I think I keep this. And then I can open Volk into DRC. And then next turn, I can potentially waste and bolt to dig deeper. Or I'd probably just play the second DRC. They play a lot of Burn in Pioneer, and Burn is actually reasonable. In Legacy, they recently printed a card that makes Burn a little bit better. It's not great. We're basically playing the most viable version of Burn right here. Okay, so let's grab this and let's just DRC here. And let's hope that they don't have a wasteland because that would really set us back. As Joyful Waffle, I say this every time I'm playing Tempo. Joyful Waffle always says, opponents will usually be too afraid to waste you when you've got something already on the board. So they're playing Volk. So they may be on Delver as well. So we might get a mirror match. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to waste, and then after the wasting has been done, so we don't have to worry about days, I will DRC. And DRC is, like, I think, immediately going to be Delirious here. Because we'll have Artifact. We don't have Instant in the yard yet. Oh, Chain Lightning. I think we put that in our graveyard because that represents another type. And let's just see what they're drawing. Get more information about their deck. Days. Okay, that's great information to have. Awesome. So we draw a card. It's another Druid that we can't cast. That's unfortunate. They don't have a land. Let's go. I think we don't have to brainstorm for a land because we drew a land. Perfect. All right, so I think I'm just going to Questing Druid here. And I'm going to do it in my end step because they might draw a Daze. And now I'm not going to be scared. I'm just going to fetch my own other Volk. No, wait, I'll get a Trop so I can cast out this Questing Druid. It'll be embarrassing if they waste this again, but we do have double Questing Druid. I feel like it's correct. So let's read this card. Until your next end step. Okay, so if we do it during our end step, they can't Daze. Seek the Beast. Let's go. Surveil. Force into the yard. If they're on Delver, I'm not going to do it. Okay. All right. So we got Brainstorm and Land. Delectable. Perfect. These are going to be great cards to use next turn. Oh, things are just coming up Millhouse. All right. That was a quick game. All right. Delver Burn. Yes. Let's keep going. Let's close out strong. In the Delver mirror, I think Pyro comes in. I think Force comes out. And I think Hydro comes in too. Hydro is great against them. So we just cut the forces. We can cut a Daze on the draw. Yeah, I mean, that's that. Let's go. They sideboarded just as fast as I did. Maybe they just got 15 islands in their sideboard. This is great. DRC into Bobble. So good. I'm not wild about the one-lander nature of this, but Bobble's going to help us dig. I think it is correct to DRC into Bobble rather than Delver. Just because we do have the trigger. Okay, there's their Delver. I'll be disappointed if they Daze here. Because they've got a Delver and I don't. I'll be very disappointed if they Daze and then they waste us. Bobble can technically set up a Delver, but yeah, I don't want to go that route. I just want to get DRC on the table and start going to Value Town. I would definitely be sadder if a DRC got Dazed than a Delver, but who knows? They could have two Dazes. DRC is the more controlling, and Murktide is the apex predator in this match. Like, this is the card that you resolve, and then you're in a dominant position. Another Delver. Yeah, I'm just going to do this. Don't Daze me, bro. As the MTG, or I think it was Star City Games published like sleeves that said that for one of their big events. It was right after the Don't Daze me, bro. Oh, this is a keep for sure. That whole debacle where security tased like a person who was just being mildly annoying in a lecture hall. Yeah, you know, I don't like to make light of that event. I think it was pretty disgusting that they tased him. They should have just grabbed him and took him out. Like, moved him out of the room if he was disrupting. Tasing can kill people. Okay, sorry for my little public service announcement. All right. This is not a wasteland, which I like. Next turn, we could just double Delver. And then maybe we'll even get a chance to double Dragon if this game goes on long enough. Amazing classic title, 1985, I think. Questing Druid is definitely tempting, but I think double Delvering is going to be a lot stronger because I don't think they have anything main deck to like take out multiple creatures. So they're going to swing. And they may feel like the aggressor right now, but if we flip two Delvers, we're very much the aggressor. Okay, their own DRC, which is closer to Delirium than ours. All right, Hydroblast cleanly takes out DRC. I think it's correct. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Yeah, I don't want this on the table. It's too powerful. Brainstorm goes in the yard, gets us closer to Delirium, fuels the Merc. Okay, and if they daze this Delver, it actually turns on Delirium, so that's great. We actively want them to daze it because we have plenty of other Delvers. Please daze my Delver. All right, well, we'll just attack for 1. Yeah, I think that was an important call, taking a turn off of double Delvering to take out the DRC. DRC gives them so much selection. If they Merc first, their Merc's going to be smaller. Minding my life total over here. Also minding the fact that my opponent may be a relatively inexperienced Delver player, considering that they mainly play Pioneer, or not Pioneer, but Pauper, which is a really cool Eternal format that's very accessible. You can build most of the decks for like $100. All right, land. You like to see them having lots of land in the mirror. That's fine. That turns on Delirium. Merc. All right, like I was just saying, we're going to have the bigger Merc here. We do have to attack in. Oh no, that actually is not good. Oh, perfect draw. Okay, do you have days? You didn't have it earlier. This game is all about days now. I'll keep a land if I see it on top. They are pausing like they have something to do here. If they have a force or a daze, I think that's GG. Because we're going to take 8. We're going to lose our DRC. And that's called being on the draw versus Delver. If by miracle they don't have some interaction spell, we're going to be firmly in the driver's seat. I want that. Yeah, I want that. With the Questing Druid. Holy cow! We did it, folks. We're swinging in for 3. We have seriously cramped their style. Next turn, we have big DRC arriving if we want it, or we just have double Delver. They're going to waste us, which is fine. We've got another land on top. Feeling so good. I love this deck. Okay, we're down to 10. This is like getting burned out level. All right. I think first things first, we attack, see what they do. Now we have the option of dropping a giant Merc, which is defensive. Just double Delver. They have to do so much in order to get their Merc type back out. Questing Druid is an option. However, I think double Delver is the correct play here because we don't want to lose our Delirium. We can always take Delirium away if they get a Delver out. Currently, our Merc would be a 6/6 or a 5/5, which is not huge. There's no way we can keep Delirium while deploying it. I can actually Questing Druid in my upkeep to get the trigger to increase the likelihood of flipping a Delver. I think I probably would do that because it represents 9 damage. They're going to need to hit us and then have 2 bolts to win. And we know one of their cards is Merc. That's great. That means it's not a bolt. If we get another land, we also have this, which we can deploy as an effective blocker. It'll effectively trade. Unholy Heat. I think you're targeting the wrong thing. I think you definitely need to target the DRC here. Wow, they have more land. Okay, so they do have the possibility of a Merc next turn. It'll be a 5/5. I think what we do next turn is we attack and then we Merc. And then they have to have double bolt to win. Or they have to draw into, let's see. I think first things first, I'm just going to attack. We know their hand is Merc. We can deploy this and block with this, but I don't think that's as strong as just Mercing. But there is a risk that they draw a Brazen Borrower, and then they attack us, and then they have a bolt in the next turn cycle or 2. All right, so we're going to take away Delirium, unfortunately. We know they don't have days. We don't have to play out this Tarn. Questing Druid could reveal a bolt. I think I like the safety of just having a big Murktide on the table. And then next turn we Questing Druid. I'm going to play this out, and I'm not going to crack it. They don't have days, so we can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's minimum impact on Delirium. We still... Oh, do we still have Delirium? I don't think we have Delirium anymore. Yeah, we have 3 types. So we'll be able to get Delirium back pretty easily. And we'll pass. And they could have another Unholy Heat to hit this, but they don't have Delirium. When I said that was the wrong target with Unholy Heat, they didn't have Delirium, so they couldn't have killed my DRC at that point. Okay, so this is good. This means that they can have a slightly larger Murktide here. Yeah, because they can have a 6/6 to our 5/5. So that is potentially game winning, actually. We're going to need to seek the beast and find some form of interaction. If they have a bolt for this, then that's even worse because they can attack in bolt, and then they've got... yeah, I mean, in retrospect, maybe taking the creatures out of the graveyard was good because if this goes to the graveyard, then we would have Delirium through that. This is such a nuanced, thought-provoking deck. Like, Delver is really hard. People who complain about Delver, it's hard to play Delver well. I think I'm a pretty good example of that. All right, and I think we're pretty dead now. They're going to hit us. I mean, we can redeploy the wimpiest Delver. We're taking 3. They just need a bolt to win. They may have already stacked a bolt on top. This might have been what they were digging for here, but we know they have a Merc that they can deploy next turn. So we have to deal with a lot. All right. Brainstorm can accomplish a lot here. I think if we can bolt this off the table, this does get us Delirious. I'm going to do this. That is a card that can feed Merc. I think it might come down to feeding Merc. I don't want to put my faith in bolting them out. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. If we reveal 2 bolts, then I'll feel like a fool. Yeah, we would have had a second bolt. We would have had the second bolt. We know that they can't beat that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put these 2 back. We don't need these. Now I'm just going to bolt this. After I'll attack and then I'll bolt. I do want to fetch away those bad cards. We're fetching the 2. This is dangerous. I'm not going to get the Trop. Should I get the Trop? Maybe I should. So if I get the Trop, then I do have the ability to play out the Questing Druid later. I don't know that that's going to be relevant, but I think it's better than not. Okay, I'll get a Trop. I convinced myself. Now I'm going to bolt here. And we can surveil again. Wasteland goes to our graveyard. All right, and next turn, we're going to have a Merc that is 6/6 to match theirs. And we can turn off Delirium, and we can stare at each other for a turn. Gosh, that was such a sad... Like, I mean, it's result-oriented thinking, really. But, yeah, that was sad. Okay, and they have a Delver, too. All right, so we have to stop a lot here. They don't know their top card anymore, I don't think. Let's see, I think they do actually know their top card, so they may know whether this can flip. So if we attack here, we can just bolt this. But then we don't necessarily guaranteed have a path. Oh, what? Wait, I have an idea. Check this out. Let's bolt here. And then we make a giant Murktide. And this will be bigger than theirs. And this may seem really passive. Yeah, that goes in our graveyard too. Yeah, we can make our Murktide even bigger. They would need their second Brazen Borrower here to win. This Questing Druid has just patiently waited in our hand the entire time. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we don't exile the Chain Lightning, it does make it a lot easier for us to get back to Delirium. So I think that's the play. We have a 7/7, which is bigger than theirs. They don't have an immediate way to grow it. I'll regret if they do. It's going to be a forced block. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chain Lightning out too. Just get slightly larger, just in case they have a path to making it bigger. So we've got a full-size Merc now. Next turn, it is a forced block, but they can just put this Borrower out. So we have to bring our own Borrower out next turn. This is a ball game. They're not going to attack. Hydroblast. I think we just have to chill and hope that they don't draw a Daze. They are on the play. If they draw a Daze, it's really bad because then they can deploy this. Maybe we just Questing Druid. Yeah, if we attack, they just flash this in. If we Questing Druid, we might just be able to find a bolt now. I should have done this before combat. I can't decide now. I think we chill for a turn. This is dangerous. We have Hydroblast for their bolt, if that is like how they're planning to kill us. This is expected. They can kill us now. If I just Questing Druid now, I might be able to find Yeah, we are in the end step. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let's see what this reveals. I'm just looking for... Oh, Pyroblast is great. Yeah, and then we can just Pyro this. We got double Pyro. That's so good. Cast. Destroy target permanent if it's blue. I'm just going to do this now. They could have a Daze in hand. Or a Hydro. That... I think this is okay. This ends the game, or it takes out... Yeah, I'll just keep it. Does this work? All right. Now they have a Borrower, but they still... And we're Delirious, so I think we win. I'm trying to think of how they can kill us. They can bolt us. So we worked so hard to die to that bolt. Yeah, we did need to move there. I mean, there's an argument that like, oh, yeah, we would have died. Let's see. We were putting... What did we put in our yard? Oh, the Pyro is what gave us Delirium. So we wouldn't have had Delirium, so this wouldn't have been able to block. So we would have died to combat either way. So we weren't going to win that game. Okay, wow. That was freaking a mind melter. All right, I'm going to keep it the same way. Actually, did I take out all the forces? I did. I'm going to bring in a Daze on the draw. Or on the play. And I think we can pull... I mean, Chain Lightning is pretty good. I definitely felt Questing Druid was difficult to cast. I'm not sure how good it is in the mirror, especially because they can waste us off our green source. I think I'm going to take this out and I'm going to go full turbo. This might be a mistake, but like we're on the play as a Delver deck. Let's go draw some blood. This is a Delver, almost certain flip. Like if we get double bobble, I'm going to keep this. I'm just going to go Island as a... Yeah, I'll be really conservative here. They're mulling to 6. You love to see it. That last game was intense. I'm going to play this out. And I'm going to play this out. During our upkeep, I'm going to hit both of us before they can do anything. During their upkeep, rather. Okay, let's see what they're drawing. Okay, they're drawing a Delver. Now we'll see what we're drawing. Drawing a Flooded Strand, so we want to take that draw first before we look at what's on top for Delver. I will Daze a threat if they have like a DRC or if they try to kill our Delver. I think this is worth dazing. They Daze back, that's fine. Okay, it looks like we're going to flip and we're going to... Well, we won't necessarily flip, but we're going to hope to flip. Okay, so we want to draw a card. We can just make a draw card sandwich. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't change the probability of us finding a spell or anything like that. So I'll just go boom. Then we'll do the Delver flip and then we'll do that. Okay, cool. Draw. Now we see what we get. Yes, a Daze. Perfect. Now they know about the Daze. Okay, and now we got a draw step. So we got lots of cards here. Holy cow, a second Delver. I think this comes out. Yeah, I think we just keep squeezing them. I'm going to hit. And now we're going to go ahead and drop this. Definitely keen to just have the basic in play. It's fine to Delver stuff or to Daze stuff when you've got a clock. We can't interact with that. We'll interact with the next spell. I think it's worth keeping the clock on the table. Okay. So we're most likely just hitting for 1 here. Let's see. DRC. I'm not going to reveal it. I'll reveal it now. I'm going to go ahead and attack first, and then I'm going to play it. They're down to 3 cards. We have a lot of good cards in our hand, but they're all reactive cards. And if they have a Wasteland for our Volk, it's going to be very sad. But I'm going to go ahead and put this on the table and hope that we can do our thing. It is Delirious. So wasting, if they don't have like follow-up removal, could be pretty good. They're pondering. If they don't take us off Wasteland, I'm going to just bolt their face, probably to increase the likelihood of flipping off Delver. They're not looking for Daze here, if it's even in their deck. We had a really good Delver start here, but we will see. Okay, the Hydroblast for... Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right. See if we can flip. Yes. All right. So we revealed the bolt. I can just cast it at my leisure. I'm going to play this out, and I'm just going to attack. If they bolt, or if they do something that interacts with our red mana, I will probably just fire off the bolt, even if it's not hitting a creature. Keeping the coast clear for our Delver is pretty good. Another Delver. Okay, I think we just bolt both of these. Yeah, I just want to gradually keep these out of play. They're down to 2 cards. Pyro is important because it can hit other cards that they have. They may have Hydroblast. I don't really care if they have an extra turn with this. I can just, I'm going to hold up Pyro just in case they have some crazy blowout spell like Counterbalance or something. So we're getting information. Oh, they're brainstorming here. So we're going to get some information and they're going to get a suboptimal. I'm going to let this resolve. And then I think I want to, after they reveal, I want to have the option of bolting. Okay. They're going to reveal. What? They didn't have anything? Did I miss something? They didn't have a single instant or sorcery? That must mean they have tons of land. All right, so I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to go ahead and bolt them instead of bolting the Delver, because I think at this point, we've got a pretty fast clock here. They have a Brazen Borrower. That would be annoying, but it won't necessarily be game winning. Let's bolt them. Okay. And now we get to go to my turn. I'm feeling better now that we're untapping with that Pyro up. Seek the Beast. This is okay. They could have done this in the end step and potentially found 2 lands. Wow, they are so unlucky. But this is why they were clearing their bad cards. I'm just going to attack. I think in my end step, I do want to Seek the Beast. I know that they're so low in life, but I don't want to lose my Delver, but I think that that's the optimal time for seeking. And I don't think they likely have a Daze here because they would have put it on top. So let's seek. And okay, those are good cards. Brazen Borrower and Brainstorm. So this is the real clinch turn where something bad could happen, but I think we're probably okay. They're going to get a land off of their seek. They can play the Trop and they can cast this out, but it's they're at 4 life. I'm not going to stress this. I've got a flyer. What I am going to stress is removal on my Delver. That would be a problem. I mean, Borrower, we don't have enough mana to use Borrower yet. Yeah, so that comes in. Do they have any other spells? They have a DRC. That is going to be Delirious, I think. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to try to do is brainstorm. I mean, I could just borrow this out of the way. I do want to brainstorm because I want to find a land drop here. I can cast this later if we really get into a situation where we need it. Land would be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the brainstorm. I can pyro this out of the way, but that will give them Delirium. I'm going to go ahead and brainstorm here. Okay, we found land. We found the second bolt. I think the game is over. I'm tempted to just double bolt them here. Don't think it's likely they have interaction. The other thing I could do that's more mana efficient is just leave. I have to fetch away something. I guess I'm going to fetch away. Yeah, I could just borrow the Insectile Aberration out of the way. That way it doesn't give DRC Delirium and then I can attack. I think this is a more conservative line, but I think it's fine. And this makes sure that we get Borrower into exile where we can use it later. I am going to grab a Valk here. We can grab a Trop later. We've got way too many red spells in our hand to bounce that out of play. They're brainstorming in response. They could get Delirium here. If they find Daze, which I don't think they have Daze on the draw. Next turn, assuming they don't waste us, we just win off double bolt. We're at 16 life. I'm trying to think of, I don't think they can win immediately. The fact that they had brainstorm, I mean, they could have brainstormed into something that, okay, so this is a 3-3 now. I will happily trade with this because I've got double bolt. Or we could just hold back and attack. because they're going to have to attack us, and they're not going to be able to deal with this. They've got Delver and one unknown in hand. Next turn, we have double bolt. And I think trading is fine because we take them off of this, which is going to attack and hit us. This attacking and hitting us isn't that big of a deal. Yeah, I think I want to take them off the selection. This is basically a forced block. They're crazy if they don't block this. Okay. And if you're a Delver expert, like, let me know if you think that's the wrong play, if I should have been patient and waited. I've got lots of juicy stuff in exile that I can cast later if the game goes longer. And we have double burn to burn them out. There's the Delver. That does grow the Druid. Druid is getting to an unmanageable size. There's a Wasteland. They are wasting us. Okay. So we're kind of in danger. We're taking 4 here. Best draw is definitely another land. Chain Lightning. They can bounce Chain Lightning back. I think I'm just going to wait, hit them right now. If I hit them right now, what's the maximum they can hit us for next turn? They could waste us again. If they find a Wasteland, that would be pretty catastrophic. I think we need to play to win and go ahead and just bolt them now while we're minimizing the likelihood of them having a force. Days won't matter. They could have a Hydro. Okay, they're at 1. All right. Next turn is the critical turn. If we draw a land, we can put the Druid out as a chumper. Okay, does this flip? If they reveal like a Hydroblast, okay, they didn't flip it. That's great. Okay, so we're taking 5 here, which is not the end of the world. Okay. It has to be a Hydroblast. It can't be a force. Okay, this is great because now we have double bolt. So I'm going to start with the lightning bolt. Just, I think, is it deterministic that we win? It's not necessarily. Bolt here. Getting some delay from the server while I have 2 minutes on the clock. Please don't crash right now, MTGO. I really need this 4-1. All right, we did it. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was intense. And there were lots of instances where I could have been less conservative and just bolted people out. Like game 2, had I known, I mean, there was a decent possibility they'll draw the second one, but they would have had to not have interaction. And I would just pitch like so much value had I gone for it. So my instinct was to not put that chain, like I milled a Chain Lightning when I could have just drawn it and then had double bolt up and won the game. And we ended up losing that game due to a series of them having like pretty much precisely what they needed. I think we were still pretty favored at the point that I milled it. I think we were probably like 70% favored or something like that. And I think we were still favored after I milled that and I saw that I had a bolt. So I don't think that was necessarily a catastrophically bad play, but it was a conservative play. And maybe you can't afford to be conservative when you really have to win the game quickly with your creatures. Like that game was definitely spiraling out of control. And had they had a second Wasteland and us not had a land, like there were several ways that we could have legitimately lost it. Yeah, but I mean, it is, the Delver mirror. It's like, you're going to see fireworks in that matchup. This deck felt amazing. The one substitution I think I'm going to make is, we didn't encounter Chalice. We didn't encounter Eldrazi, which is our like buy type matchup. I think we're like so favored against them. It's not even funny, but there is this card that I think would be good in the in the sideboard. It's called Cast Into the Fire. It's from Lord of the Rings. And they printed it because they knew they were printing 2 broken, or not broken, but like extremely powerful cards. Let's see, Cast Into the Fire. Do I not own it? I have an all access pass, so I should be able to get it. Anyway, I'll show you what it looks like. So this card, it's got sick art. It's Gollum and Frodo, and they're like fighting over the ring, and it's, Gollum has sacrificed himself, like I can't remember exactly what happens. The bird's taking Samwise away, and they're like, no, the ring. And Frodo's like, no, Gollum. Yeah, it's this very epic kind of art that kind of mirrors like the Sistine Chapel almost. But it's just so epic. Anyway, choose one. Cast Into the Fire deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 targets. What has 1 toughness that you would want to be dealing damage to? Maybe a Bowmaster, maybe the Orc army that it created. Yes. And the other is exile target artifact. So this not only gets rid of Chalice, it also gets rid of the One Ring, which the One Ring in theory isn't a big deal for us because like, okay, we can't attack for a turn. You're taking damage and we're burning you out. But the fact that this deals with both of those does kind of give me like, oh, this would be a good sideboard inclusion. So what I will probably do to change this, first of all, 4 chain lightnings felt excessive in the best of all possible way. Like it felt great just chain lightning people. I do think that we need like this mix of blasts is totally fine. Like they were relevant in 2 matchups. We went up against blue-red Sneak and Show and we went up against blue-red Delver, and having 5 blasts was great. Some people are going 4 blast, 1 hydro, or 4 pyro, 1 hydro. I think that's also fine, but I think that this is a good mix because like, what are you cutting if you're making room for 4 blasts? Yes, you're cutting your forces, but there's probably at least one other card you could board in, you know, like in combo, we're boarding in the force negation, and against Delver, like we're boarding in all 5 cards. So yeah, anyway, we were struggling to make room. I do think that boarding out days, like all of your days on the draw and all of your forces on the play is fine. You could even argue force should always come out even on the draw against Delver. That said, I've died to Delver so many times with like plenty of cards in my hand. So yeah, that's the point of Delver. It gets card advantage through ending the game before your opponent is able to cast their spells. So I don't know what I would cut to make room for this. Meltdown has never really felt that fantastic. Like I'm trying to think, have I ever cast the Meltdown? I brought it in against Mono Black Saga Storm. I think that's the only time I brought it in. This isn't a good answer to Chalice, in my humble opinion. Like, if you're up against Eldrazi and the only artifact in their deck is Chalice, like, Meltdown doesn't feel really good, right? I mean, you could argue that, yeah, 2 mana is the same amount as Cast Into the Fire, but Cast Into the Fire is simply like a more flexible sideboard card. So I would argue that that's like a reason right there. The Surgical never came up. It is good in lands. It's good against lands, and it's good against black-blue Reanimator, which is definitely the top deck, the deck to beat. The decks to beat are still Eldrazi and mono or blue-black Reanimator. I think that blue-black Reanimator is by far the strongest, but Eldrazi is the most format warping because like you just can't really play control decks when your lands can be exiled uncounterably. Like that's problematic. And it basically invalidates like the entire archetype. Now, this said, I would like to respond, who has the Esper control list with Urza Sagas and Staff of the Storyteller and stuff like that. He says that he's 75% win rate. And we played against this deck in a previous video if you want to check it out. It's the blue-black tempo deck. Like hits like a truck, I think is how I titled it. And he says that he's got a 75% win rate from 90 league matches from the past week that with his deck. And I'll show you what that deck list looks like. Here's the list. So he's got 4 Tamio, 4 Bowmasters, 2 Timeless Dragons. I don't think he's playing Timeless Dragon anymore is what he said. And then he's got 2 Teferi. Questionable inclusion, frankly. I think this card's really bad when there's so many Bowmasters. And then, I mean, you could argue the same for Staff of the Storyteller. I did get totally soloed with my tempo deck by Retrofitter Foundry. It's a really good card. The fact that you can grab it off. But, so you may be thinking, oh, so control does work. But here's what he said. He said that Eldrazi is like a 30%, 40% matchup. Like he's losing a lot to Eldrazi, which is what you would expect when Eldrazi can, you know, turn 3 exile a land and destroy land, and it doesn't even matter if one of those lands is basic, right? So I do think that like we're gonna hope to have this gentleman on the channel, and we're gonna see how his deck plays because I played with it a little bit, and it's really hard to play. I had a friend from FNM who showed up, and he was just like, "This deck is terrible. 22 freaking lands, and you know, like other cards to go get lands. Like it's so many lands. My goodness, you know, Timeless Dragons." Lorien Revealed, like it's like a 26 land deck effectively. And yeah, like that's pretty brutal. Like you get flooded a lot. Now, in theory, you have stuff to do with your mana. And that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to talking with him about. But my point is, if you can't really play control right now, because, you know, I would like to respond. He's basically just hoping that he doesn't get paired against Eldrazi because he'll most likely lose against Eldrazi. So as a result, like, do you really like, if you go to a major tournament, a lot of people are going to be playing Eldrazi because it's powerful and it's pretty flexible. And it's frankly, it's a lot easier to play. Like you can do like 8 or 10 rounds of playing Eldrazi much easier than you can do 8 or 10 rounds of this. Like if you're playing this list for 8 or 10 rounds, you're going to go crazy. You're going to go to time a lot. and even like a single draw or something. So I would say control is really rough to play, but tempo is alive and well. Let me show you the list again. I think that this list is the best tempo list. Not necessarily with the 4 chain lightnings, seasoned to taste in terms of how many chain lightnings you want to include. But I do think that this list with the double Questing Druid and some number of Murktides, maybe that's 3 instead of 2. Although 2 felt fine. Like, we didn't run into situations where we had it in our opening hand a lot. I definitely acknowledge that he's powerful, but I like having 24 spells that can flip our Delvers. Our Delvers did flip pretty reliably, and that was pretty key. There were a lot of games that were decided by whether or not Delver flipped quickly. So I would posit that you should probably be playing 14 creatures. That was the classic Delver lists back in the what is it called? I think 14 is the number of spells, right? Because people were playing like 4 DRC, 4 Delver, 4 Murktide, and then 2 Brazen Borrowers. That's like the classic kind of Delver configuration from the Expressive Iteration days. And I feel like if you go up to 15, then you do Jeopardize. And I'm going to prove this to you with the Hypergeometric Calculator. Okay, so we're just going to assume that you haven't fetched any lands out of your deck or anything. Like in practice, like you're going to be fetching, but you're going to be fetching whether you have 24 cards or whether you have 23. Most Delver decks today are playing 23 instants of sorceries. Let's take a look at this. So you have a 40% chance of flipping. That's pretty good. Now you go down to 23. You only have a 38.3, which may seem like pedantically small, like, okay, 1.7% difference. It does come up over the course of a league. There will probably be some instance where your Delver didn't flip where it would have had you been playing 14 creatures instead of 15. So I will leave it there. I genuinely think that playing like 1 creature fewer and 1 instant or sorcery more is correct. I would love to not have to play Bobble, but Bobble is just so strong with DRC, and it gets you Delirium, it gets you a free Surveil. I think there was at least one time where we had Delirium on turn 2 with the DRC, and that is incredibly powerful when you got your selection engine up and you're also hitting for 3 each turn. So I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed watching this show of how powerful this archetype is, even in the hands of a novice. Frankly, I am a total novice at Delver, and I am very much looking forward to reading the comments and seeing like the various little inefficiencies in my play decisions and learning from you all. But I am having such a fun time playing this deck, and I love the idea of just slaying Eldrazi. Even though we didn't get to slay Eldrazi, check out some of the other videos I've done with this list, and you'll see me slay Eldrazi. I don't know if this list has ever lost to Eldrazi for me. It's just really strong against Eldrazi, and Eldrazi is like my big punching bag. Like, you can watch a video Bosch and Roll put out, and it's playing my least favorite deck other than Eldrazi, which is Blue-Black Reanimator. But he goes up against Eldrazi 4 times in a row. And that video just dropped. I'm a huge fan of Bosch and Roll. Shout out to Bosch and Roll. I want to shout out lots of smaller creators as well, not just the biggest creator in Legacy, but he is the biggest for a reason. He's very good at what he does. And he's not only a good player, but he's entertaining to watch. So be sure to check that out as well. Be sure to check out my other Rug Delver related. And I have like straight blue-red that's not even playing Questing Druid. I do think it's correct to play Questing Druid. He was really good in the matchup. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.